In every piece of video media, there is always the chance that errors will be made. Ranging from subtle continuity errors to incorrect coloring between shots or even frames, here is Every Mistake in Bob's Burgers, Season 13, Episode 13.
No.
The backdrop of our establishing shot has Linda and the kids walking past relatively flat-colored purple, green, and red-brown buildings. In the follow-up shot, the magenta storefront with a flat green sign and no awning somehow replaces the building that they were just walking past. The building behind that one has lost its awning and now has a flat brown sign too. The sound engineering in Bob's Burgers is tight. In fact, this is the first error that I've found in the series so far, and it may actually just be the result of how the scene was cut. Let me explain. I'm going to crank the mix up. You can hear Miss LeBon stirring her coffee.
So yeah, I'm volunteering today.
That's great.
She turns and tosses her spoon into the sink as we cut away to the next scene, but you do not hear the spoon hit the metal sink. I personally would have opted for an L cut where the sound from this scene, in this case the spoon hitting the sink, would play as the video from the next scene begins. From moving between scenes to things moving within scenes, up next we explore several shifty objects. From the outside, it appears that Bob has the chalkboard balanced across the smaller sidebar with its right-hand corner closest to the corner of the main bar. As soon as we are inside, Bob instantly is moved over to the other side of the main bar, now with the left corner of the chalkboard pushing into the main bar's corner. In the scene where Linda is stuffing envelopes in the main office, the papers on the wall organizer change in number and in the slots depending on which camera angle is used. It's very subtle. The corkboard on the right of Miss Selbo has two postings on its left side. The upper one is a light magenta and the lower one appears to be on a standard white piece of paper. In the next two shots, the lower white posting is replaced by a similarly sized magenta one. This changes again in the last shot containing the board. There is now a much smaller magenta posting in place of the larger sized one from earlier. The smaller white posting and fuzzy tacks are also replaced with two notices on white paper. When Linda is in the doorway of Louise's classroom, the door behind her is likely a flipped art asset. All of the hallway doors, including the one that Linda uses, appears to have their hinges on the right hand side with glass on the left closest to the door handle. The one behind Linda in this shot, however, has its glass on the left-hand side and appears to open inwards. Mr. Frond's incident report is a mess. If you look at the top third of the page, the details of the incident are handwritten. The font of the second paragraph implies that it was either hand-typed or that they used a computer font that emulates typed font. For some reason, it's similar to the field titles on the forum itself. It's a little bit hard to tell if it says witness statement or victim statement in the second paragraph on the page. I'm assuming that it's witness statement because Jason referring to himself in the third person is a little bit weird, and there's also some inconsistencies. This portion contradicts the first paragraph because it claims that Jason put the mash missile down on the blacktop, slang for asphalt. There is a little something off about Bob's signature burger flipping technique. After flipping the burger, we cut away to Linda and then back to Bob. Bob then lifts the burger and abruptly places it back down. It looks like a very unnatural motion, both from a cooking perspective and an animation perspective. This apparent jumpiness appears to be because of a cheat cut where they used a previous frame of animation from the beginning of the animation sequence to close the animation sequence out. Also, for some reason in this animation sequence, they have Bob lifting and flipping a burger that is not at all caramelized or cooked on the face down side like the one beside it. Maybe Bob's weird burger flipping technique is affecting all of the food at Bob's Burgers, because Mort's fries not only flip themselves, but they move to face the viewer in every scene. It kind of reminds me of how plants and tables were rendered in the original Doom and Wolfenstein 3D. Speaking of ancient hardware games, Bob's computer comes into play during the musical number with Teddy. This may be because it overlaps with other objects, or it's a simple sprite limitation of the old computer. Bob's gathering of the images to trash, the light bulb, the fish, candy, arrow, the flag, are all not visible in whole or in part when he grabs them. The layering order of these objects is also suspect. But even more pressing, when did Tux the Linux Penguin get there? Okay, I know it's just the dog ears overlapping some other objects, but seriously, it looks like a penguin. The envelope that Linda is stuffing while thinking about the mash missile theft disappears, kind of like the missile. We cut back to Linda as she's getting off the phone with Bob, and the folded envelope has materialized where Linda would have actually put it. Next, we see Linda fold and stuff a new envelope and place it down, but it's not atop the other two, or anywhere to be seen really. But later in the episode, a bunch of the stuffed envelopes have also disappeared along with the incident report and flyers that she was covering it up with. After Louise is cleared of the theft and the school day has ended, Linda tells Miss Selbo that she did not stuff any of the envelopes at all, but clearly she had in prior scenes.
I might not have stuffed some, or most, or any of the envelopes.
No, you did not.
How many did she stuff? I count 1, 2, 3, and this ever-variable pile here. And that's Every Mistake in Bob's Burgers, Season 13, Episode 13. Did we get it wrong? Was there something we missed? Well, tell us in the comments below and you might be credited in a future episode. Thanks for watching, and if you feel like it, click another one.